I think my story represents a testament or a testimony, having faith and putting your money where your mouth is and putting your faith into motion. You know, you gotta believe in yourself first.
Yeah, y'all, it's the #1 co-signer, Don Cannon, and we are in sunny Los Angeles. BackTrak, another episode, and we're doing it with Mike and Keys, the legends, Mike and Keys, as we reclaim the spot with Nipsey Hussle and Dom Kennedy. Check it out. We are here with Mike and Keys, the legends. I don't give a fuck what y'all think, what y'all heard. I'm here with the legends right here, and we're remaking
Checc Me Out, Nipsey Hussle.
Yes, sir.
and Dom Kennedy. We are here to stay spot. We're gonna go through, check out the little instruments that they got. You know, they got a nice collection. We just moving through, man. I'm happy to be in Los Angeles with the legends. Let's do it.
Check us out. This is our new spot. We here, Woodland Hills, California. This Phonics room, super producer.
You already know, man. Fan club,
Super
hey, finest Mike and Keys,
Yeah.
Mike and Keys, finest however the fuck you want to say, man. You know, we just making great music. We're the restorationists. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you want your style refurbished? Come holler at us.
Hell yeah. So we've been here like 5 months. The owner, he really genuinely fucked with us. He actually gave us one of the studio a month in advance. He like, y'all got good energy, y'all can, you know, live.
Come check out our room now.
Yeah, then now this joint right here.
You know, I guess as a studio, it gotta feel like your bedroom. So, you know, we got our toys, our drum set, keyboard.
I know this room got a special name. What's the name for this room? You know, everybody got a room. Everybody got the room, and they say, yo, this called 420 because we get busy. Then you got people that do, you know. What is this room called? Y'all didn't name this room, man. I'm walking out.
We low-key called this the Michael Jordan room.
There you go. 23. 23. I like that. I like
The
that.
inspiration of Michael Jordan is always in our room. So it's like, you know, with the red and just.
So Michael Jordan better than LeBron?
Yeah,
For sure. Let's go.
come on, man.
Man, that's not even a question. Like, you know what I'm saying? Our boy Omar, super producer from New York.
Yeah. Oh.
We turned the booth into another studio just so we can have people creating and do both. So,
That's dope.
you know, we got,
Yeah, you see this? Clean up your shit.
yeah.
It's a nice room right here, man.
This is the money room right here. This is where everybody makes the real magic because it's the smallest room. And I feel like people be tapped in when it's right in front of you and we got the mic so you can record it and make a beat. So, you know, a lot of artists don't really record in the booth no more, so we just try to have two things going on at one time.
That's true.
This is the you about to make it room. Like after, you know, you make it here, then you get to the room. If you make some shit in here, you really made some shit. You know what I'm saying? In this
That's a
room.
special room, okay.
Yeah, you feel me? Last but not least, we got the
theater room.
Yeah, the Bad Boys 3 movie room, you know?
Yeah, this is amazing, man. I
Yeah, this
love
is where
the
you make
creative
a,
here.
you know, watch a movie and make a record.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the inspiration come from, you know, visuals. You know what I'm saying? When you're making music, I feel like when you looking at a visual, that takes the music to the next level. So a room like this is perfect for it.
What all artists have worked in here so far in the building and in just this room in general?
Man, we've had Dom Kennedy in here. We've had Dave East here, Stacey Barth, Sean Sloan, Buddy, Wap Dad 4000. These are guys that over here on a consistent basis. So they love the energy of the room because, you know, they like to be wild and niggas and do their thing.
So we're here doing a recreation, Checc Me Out by Nipsey Hussle and Dom Kennedy. I'm glad you guys wanted to recreate this from scratch because this is one of my favorite records. I work out to this numerous times a week. I used to play this in a club when I really was supposed to be playing the hit records, but I was doing, you know, some of the parties out here. They was like, bro, you really killing it. You really making us really like this record. This is one of my favorites, and I'm glad I'm here to do this with you guys. What was the initial inspiration behind this record? Like, did you and Nip come to the room? Did y'all say, hey, we want to make this type of record? Was this something that was flowing already? Did you have an instrument that you was excited about buying that you was like, man, this the new instrument, we about to go crazy, make a whole pack of beats? Like, where did we get to the point where we made this street classic?
It all started when we had a studio with T-Fly and DJ Quick back in 2012. The energy was so crazy, like everybody from the West Coast was coming through. Mustard, YG,
Ty
Nip.
Dolla Sign,
Yeah.
everybody.
The energy was insane.
Dope.
We was inspired every single day. You know, T-Fly in there making like 10 records a
I
day.
remember those days. I remember those days.
So yeah, he was going crazy. So he just inspired us, man. And actually, he was the first one to do a song to this beat.
That's fire. See, people don't know this story, and that's the reason why we bring it there, because I have instances where I talked about records I made, but they were for other people. I just like to start at the bottom of where the soil is and really talk about how we got to that point. You know what I mean? That's good that you say T-Fly. T-Fly is also an artist that I also tried to sign back in the day. And, you know, and he did a lot of good work, man. Dude's hooks was crazy, but that's interesting. He was the first person on that beat. Where was it? I know the place is no longer there, but where did you originally come up with this idea?
We came up with this idea at the studio with T-Fly and DJ Quick, and the funny thing, I think it was Janis Joplin's, or how you say it?
Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin's old studio on Sunset. Was it on Sunset?
On Highland.
Highland in Hollywood. That studio was the craziest vibe, and I remember at that time we were doing Dom Kennedy's Get Home Safely. Dom took us to the studio at 1500 Studio, and I remember on the way to the studio, Dom was like, we gotta make a banger for Nip. That's why if you listen to the song, Dom is like new Nipsey Hussle. Because in his mind, he was like, we gotta make a banger for Nip.
Hard.
So that was the intention going to the studio, so.
New Nipsey Hussle, check me out. New Nipsey Hussle, check me out. New Nipsey Hussle, check me out.
We already knew we was going to make a song with Nip, and that was the first song we ever did with him.
Was that the original 1500 Nothin on Centinela? The
Yes.
small spot?
Yes, the original 1500
Hard.
in Inglewood
Hard.
studio, and man, that studio was a special,
Super special.
super special studio. Everybody used to be there, and I just remember that day, like Nip was very excited because that was like our first time all working together.
Man, that's dope. That's dope. You know, I remember being in that studio as well and them showing me around. I remember one of the key moments was wanting to go get some snacks from the gas station. And they was like, man, you good, walk down the street. I was like, y'all sure? We in there, you know what I mean? We can walk down the street. He said, man, you can walk all the way, you can walk as far as you want. I said, all right, cool. And that, you know, that established me, you know, I was going down there. Sometimes I landed from the airport, I went there.
Right
you know
there,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
went to SLS or Sofitel, went right there. That was my stomping ground. So it's good to hear that inspiration. What's your weapon of choice when it comes to making records?
I think our weapon of choice is having musicians around.
I like that.
Like that's our secret weapon. Like sampling 1500, we were the first people to do that. Like he was the one to tell Rance like we should sample you.
I remember that.
So
I remember that.
That elevated our whole production. Sampling the homies.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I remember getting a sample pack back then from Rance and Chuck,
Mm-hmm.
and they meant to send me the pack renamed as me, but it was Micah Key sample pack. It's all they joints in it, so I know what y'all talking about when we
Yeah.
go there. You know what I'm saying? Musicians, and then what keyboards, what computer, what program, like what did y'all use with the musicians?
We use Reason, program called Reason.
Boom, boom, bap, drums.
Yeah, we feel like we're the last of the dying breed using Reason, but we always used Reason, and we always had a really good musician mesh it in, you know what I'm saying? So it's just not the laptop. We were the guys that got VSTs last.
Yeah.
That's what nobody knows.
That's
So we
right.
always use stock sound. So
That's right, Reason didn't have them.
yeah, we didn't have no VST, so it was tough for us for a long time to try to figure it out. Now it's a little bit easier, but back then,
We have to push the line.
man, we used to push the line on trying to make it sound like what it is.
What was it then? Was it Reason 7, 6,
I think it was 5.
5?
Either 5 or 6.
It was had to have been 5 or 6.
Yeah.
We're at 12 now.
Yeah, we had 12.
Yeah. So and when I tell you, we used to struggle to do it because say we wanted to get the vocals, we used to have to sample the vocals in there because there wasn't no audio. So that used to be like, ooh, that used to be tough.
Oh, that's tough. That's almost finding records and I find a special sample and the record's warped and I have to, you know, that's the magic. Like you had to sample the audio to make it, you know, that's what made you guys who y'all are, you know what I mean? When you're starting your process, what comes first? You said musicians. Do you say, hey guys, we want to make something like this, or this is what we're hearing, or, you know, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and be like, I'm hearing something, and I'll voice note it, go back to sleep and pass it off and see if I can get somebody to play the bass line. Is it something like that, or do you have jam sessions? I know with 1500 Nothin being so talented, all them guys across the board, when I used to work with them, it used to be a jam session. We just run 2 hours straight and just take the best pieces and then make the beats later. Is that something you guys do, or do you have an initial direction of where you want to go with each record when you know the artist?
It's the jam sessions for sure, because that's like their heart and soul is into it. Like they just freestyle it.
Yep.
And then we'll make it into a record. And on top of that, we'll make the beat and then they'll play over the beat. So that's like been our formula since day one.
Dope, dope. When they're doing that, what's your first step? Are you going to the drums? Are you coloring some of the sounds that they're playing into the DAW? What's the first step?
Back then, we used to go through all the music and we used to really go through recycle and chop everything first.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we used to do. Okay, we like all these, and then we'll chop, and then we'll make the beats. Because, like I said, we didn't have no audio, so we had to take our time and make pretty much Rex files of all their samples, and that took a minute. And then we would make the beats.
No.
So we would have it ready, like, okay, cool, we got these chops ready, versus like, okay, we're gonna use this sample today. Like, nah, because that's gonna take too long.
I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. That's the name of the show. Musical backgrounds. What's your musical background? Where did you start? And what initially drew you to loving making music? And did you know this is what you were gonna be doing?
Shoot, my musical background, man. I got two sisters that sing. They used to sing in church. They used to perform.
Dope.
So I never really thought I was gonna be the music guy. I thought, you know, they were gonna be the music people, but it ended up being me. I think it's because I was always around music, like at church and all that, always around musicians, and they used to take me to studios in different cities, and I used to just watch them go in, and like that just inspired me. So, and at the same time, you know, I was in high school and I knew this guy that used to play at my dad's church. He had his own studio, so after school I would go to his studio and just watch him.
Dope.
So it was just destiny at that point.
You knew you was gonna be doing this.
Like when I was like around 18, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you?
Well, you know, my dad's a pastor, so we used to call my dad like Baby Joe Jackson, because he was like the guy like, we gonna get the equipment, we gonna do everything. Like he was always forcing the issue, and me and my brother was always like, nah, we ain't gonna do it. But I come from a musical background of, you know, family members. Like my uncles had a gospel group. They was, you know, real famous in the South. And my other uncle, he's one of the biggest gospel radio guys in the South. So he used to bring all the biggest gospel artists to perform. I got to see the best musicians, keyboard players, drummers. You know what I'm saying? I met the Marses and Lorentzes early in their career, you know what I'm saying? Seeing that, so like, I just took that, and I always knew how to play drums. So like my dad used to always just be honest about like, God gave y'all talent to do music, so you should do it. So I always practiced, but like I didn't get in the real studio probably till I was like 21, 22 years old.
Word.
And that's when I was like, okay, yeah, this is a real thing. You know what I'm saying, doing music.
Or how'd you guys meet?
Shoot, we met through just mutual friends.
Okay.
And, you know, during the MySpace days, I used to post beats on MySpace, and I don't know if you heard of Rock Battle back in the day.
For sure.
So I was on there, so I got known off there.
Okay.
And, you know, Mike found me, and then I found out that he knew the same people I knew, like Phonics, and because I met Phonics first.
Yep.
And then we knew each other, and then we just, it's crazy how it all happened, because it's almost like we was all meant to be together.
It was meant. It ain't like it was meant. And I tell people often, I was like, yo, these guys is, you know, not to be blasphemous, are like our modern day version of the likings of the Neptunes, the likings of those producer groups like the Bomb Squad and all these, because you guys solidified and made something for a whole coast. And people don't do that enough, even in the West Coast or the South or the East Coast. We don't team up, you know what I mean? We do have the heat makers, you know, you got organized noise. But so it's a lot of times where we don't have that, and I don't see too much of it on the West Coast. It was always Dr. Dre for me. It was Dr. Dre is the highest thing. You had Daz, you had Quick, you had you had Cat, you had Jelly Roll, you had so many people, Rick Rock. But to have a duo, it's like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's special, and you know, everybody talk about flowers. I'm just giving y'all a big up on that. Moving into this session, what are we doing first?
So we're known for drums.
Since he knows how to play drums, is there sometimes you map out the drums as an idea and then go in there and program it differently?
Yeah, so usually how we do it, like, I feel like Keys is really good at, like, he understands how to put it together correctly. So I'll do a scratch, like, you know, something that sounds good, and he'll take that and make it, what's the word, professional. Like, he knows how to make it like intact versus sounding like a sloppy drummer playing. You know what I'm saying? He knows that's kind of how we do it. And then, you know, layer it, the drum sounds with the program sounds.
Gotcha. What are we doing first?
The drums first.
Okay. Redrum, huh?
Redrum.
For people that don't know about this, is Redrum and Reason. I did a little experiment not too long ago where somebody challenged me to make a beat in every DAW, even if I didn't know it. And that's where I want to be able to come here. So if I come here and create with y'all, I want to be like, pull up Reason. Fuck it, we do Reason for the day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
The fact that you know the redrum is, that's, believe it or not, a lot of people don't use redrum
That's crazy.
in Reason.
Nah, that's crazy. Do you guys make your own template, or do you just start from scratch blank?
Always start right. We always start with a
we
blank
always start
scratch
blank.
every
Wow,
time.
that's dope. See, you already got the drag drums. You know what I'm saying? That's that West Coast drag drum. That's the bounce we don't got. So these drums, where'd these come from? They came from packs. Did y'all make some? Did y'all put some sounds on them?
I think that's that 3P kit.
Oh,
It was
3P?
that kit, yeah, the 3P
Okay,
kit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you know,
Yeah.
the real producers know about all the certain little kits
Facts.
from back in the day. That was a special little kit.
Facts.
And us being from LA, it's like, we got the 808 last in our career.
Gotcha.
So, you know.
Most did. Like, I'm from the East Coast. I got to the 808 last. The one-shot 808 was
Yeah,
there,
the
but not the
one-shot,
brand
I
that
didn't even
Keys,
know
it
it.
was different. Yeah, that's different. So what's special about Redrum?
I think it's just more like on point. Like, you know, on Fruity Loops where you could punch in,
Yeah.
it's like that. And you could do a whole lot too with the resolution. Like,
Ooh.
you know what I mean?
It's right there.
Yeah.
That's dope.
sample came from Lawrence. He would give us like little sound bites, like little 12 bar, it might be like 8 to 12 bar sound bites and little ideas he would do. They wasn't even really beats, they was just ideas, and then we would chop them. You can play the original sample. There we go. So make it to the original key. So if you hear it,
That's fire.
that's the part we use. We loop that part. And then nothing transposed yet.
Ooh. Now tell me this for the listeners: is this a high moment?
He was
Is this a high moment?
Yeah,
because transposing that down, that's damn near genius. Like when you played the original to that, I'm like, whoa, whoa, that's some magic right there. So I'm trying to figure out if the weed gods brought it down. You know what I'm saying?
I think sometimes the weed does have a little bit to do with it, just because when a sample is transposed high, you should always transpose it down.
Real shit.
And when it's transposed down, you should transpose it high.
Yep.
And I think in this sample in particular, that one part just got us. So it was like, but you can hear the bass in there, so we always put effects on the sample so you can't hear the bass. So you can hear is that piano.
What's your go-to effects when you're doing stuff like this?
Well, Reason has some real good stock effects.
Okay.
So those are our go-to still to this day. Okay. Multi-effects in there.
Yeah, that's our go-to.
Like this is one of them. It's like a huge, big reverb, got like an atmosphere type of sound.
Okay. So when y'all didn't have audio then, what did y'all do? You had bounce it down and bring it back?
Yeah, we used to have to bounce it.
Oh my God.
Right into the desktop. Oh man.
Yeah, oh man, that's tough.
It used to be tough.
Yeah, that's tough. Even with like tracking the beats out, I know that was a headache.
Yeah, we used to have to bounce everything individually, singly with now you can just bounce everything at one time.
Yeah.
Nah. We used to have to bounce each sound individually with the effect. Oh man,
that took a long time.
It used to take a long time to do that.
It didn't matter though, because you had the placement. So
So all these effects, doing all that, like it sound good, but to bounce it was difficult.
Got you. Makes sense.
Filter that they have in Reason. This is like from Reason 2.0.
Yeah.
Dope. Okay.
That just took all that major frequency out so you can hear that one part. That's all we hear at that one part.
Yeah, it's dope.
And then everybody always asks where the bass come from. It's all the sounds are stock sounds in Reason.
That's
There's
crazy.
All of it.
Yeah, and Subtractor. I guess you're pulling that up. They have a joint called something guitar. What is it called? Bass guitar. That's in there. But I use that inside Ableton sometimes. You know?
Oh yeah,
because the bass just sounds so amazing.
It does.
You know, I use that. I use Reason as a plugin, but that bass is like one of my go-to basses.
For sure.
Yeah.
DJ Khalil really put us up on all the basses in Reason, man. They got some tricky little bass sounds that nobody don't even be thinking about.
I believe it. But where do we go next?
The bass.
We used a bass called the TB synth. That started it all. This was our first time really using this bass. From Slauson Boy 2 to, we just started using it every time.
Damn, it sound good. He didn't hear what we were saying. He went right to the bass. It was magical.
Then I think we took that and just layered it because I don't even think we had that one shot 808 yet.
it already sounds sinister right there.
Yeah,
Like, it just
that, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So we layered this bass with, like you said, the 808, but there's an 808 in the Thor, which is a stock sound. It's a module called a Thor in Reason.
This is very important that we're going through the stock sounds because people don't use stock sounds enough. We overlook them thinking it came with the program that it was whack.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And Pharrell is a master of using stock sounds.
Man,
and his
he's the
is amazing,
master.
bro. And to see y'all doing, I'm like, man, I did get back into my stock sounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just copied and pasted the
Like
bass.
most people do.
Yeah.
Copy, paste it down. Don't waste your time.
Transposed it up a little bit so you could hear it.
Yeah.
Put the velocity all the way up.
Yep. And the importance of people trying to layer sounds. Most of the younger kids, or most of the people don't know how to layer sounds is because they have clashing. What's your trick to stop it from clashing? You have two different bass lines.
I think the 808 has a deeper frequency than the bass.
Okay.
So the bass has like, all right, I'm gonna get technical on y'all. So the bass has a lower mid frequency than the 808. The 808 is just all low.
Got you.
Low mid, not mid, but like all low.
Yeah.
Low frequency. So so you just try to blend the two.
Okay. If I ran into a clash problem, what would you usually do? Would you EQ something out?
High filter. Usually we high filter it. Like
Okay.
a lot of us, usually how we try to make a bass sound different is we'll take one bass, high pass it, and it sounds like its own sound, so it's not clashing with the bass. So it's like they're meant to be together, basically.
Gotcha.
But on this particular track, we didn't really EQ nothing because it already just sounded
it
cool.
just had that feeling.
Yeah.
And it's this prolific turnaround in his beat. It was very simple but prolific. That's how I know. That's how I get my workout back when I just take my rest for that second.
The turnaround, that was a time where everybody was doing that.
Yeah.
And we feel like it had to be some type of, I think that was the time where Drake and everybody was doing the stops on the beats, like, you know, the dropping before it goes back into the beat.
Right, right. Yeah, I always tell people that turnaround, bro, that was my 30-second rest.
You talking about
you know what
the snare,
saying?
you
Yeah.
talking about the snare
Yep.
where it got filtered, yeah.
So what we did was, so we used the stock sounds again.
That's a stock snare?
Not the snare, but like the
Got the
filter.
filter. Okay, got you.
Like we put it on the master this time.
Got you.
So that's how we did all the stops and the breakdowns and all that.
Okay. So master filter.
Yeah, so this right here is a stock effect, stock filter, and this also is a stock effect. So we just automated it to where it do that transition you're talking about.
Got you. Okay. Is the automation live or you have to draw it in?
I think it was live.
It was live?
Yeah, it was live, yeah.
Here we go right here.
Yep. There you go. That's live.
And at that time, that's what I'm saying, like the fact that we had to put effects, like a lot of people had to do the filter in Pro Tools with the engineer. We did it in Reason because we didn't have no option
Right.
to do that. So
Right.
we figured out how to put the effect on the master of the whole record to get that filter sound.
How long before you're into this beat where somebody's walking around the room chatting to themselves to rap?
Man, I think, it might be shorter than that. Like once they walk in the room and hear this, because they ain't never heard nothing like this before.
Right.
So I just immediately triggers them, you know, when somebody hears something that they never heard.
Right.
Especially like if they're an artist,
Yeah.
they're like, man, want to hop on it, let's hop on the beat.
Yeah. What I'm trying to figure out is just the connection between the producer and the artist now is trying to figure out if there's any artists that there were back then that allowed us to be producers. Like somebody said, yo, y'all create, I'm just gonna rock with whatever y'all think because I trust y'all opinion and I trust y'all taste. Was that something that was going on in the Nipsey and the Dom era or the T-Fly era? They trusted you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you know they trusted you?
Cause usually with the artists, like, you know, the artists and producer usually a lot of times clash.
Yep.
And I think in that time, everybody was in their own space. So when I feel like when an artist trusts a producer, that motivates a producer to work hard,
do more.
And I feel like they was on that vibe, especially Nip more than anybody, because Nip was like, whatever y'all think is tight, I think is tight.
Dope.
So you like word, we used to be like, word, okay, cool. Then that motivated us.
And another thing of what was crazy about Nip is he would choose our beats by default. Like he wouldn't even know it's us. Like Rance would play him beats, and Nip wouldn't even know it was us.
Right.
And then Rance would be like, "Yeah, that's Mike and Keys. That's Mike and Keys again. That's them again." Like
So
I gotta pull
synergy
up
was
on
there.
Synergy was there, yeah.
Yeah, the synergy was there. He already knew what was going on.
I gotta pull up on him
and go in the room.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with Dom Kennedy, was that something that was a repeated effect as well? Did he come back to you like, yo, I need to create with y'all more, be in the room? Or is it just send me stuff and I'm gonna create and send it back to y'all? What do y'all prefer? Do y'all prefer the artist to come in and record with you guys, or versus sending beats? What do y'all like to do? I know me personally, sometimes I get introverted and I don't want to be in the studio with the artist. It's not because I don't like the artist. It's sometimes I feel like my creations are better by myself. You know what I mean? Because I create wherever. I might be in the bed watching TV. I might make a hit. I might be in the basement in the studio doing it. I may be at the studio doing it. I might be waiting for, you know, somebody to come outside and I just, you know, I'll make something real quick. How important is like in the studio with the artist versus you guys just creating like in your own zone?
I feel like, man, I definitely feel like how you feel sometimes.
Okay.
I think it's just, with the creative process, it's just different. Like some people focus more when they're by themselves. I know Mike won't say this, but I think he makes better beats when he's by himself.
Okay.
You know, even though you like being, he loves being with the artist and the energy. He's the energy guy.
Right.
But I think when he's by himself, he makes better beats. Same with me. You know.
I think that might be the consensus for everybody. I feel like when you're on your own zone, it's like you're not thinking about something. You know, I think that most artists get pressure like, yo, you get a call and it's like, yo, Snoop wants some beats. And like, oh, I don't have anything. I got to cook some stuff up. But you're sitting here wrecking your brain, trying to figure out, where am I sending Uncle Snoop? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you're by yourself and you just leisurely working, it just flows. And I feel like there's two types of people. You know, there's the people that want to be in the room. I've seen Jazzy Faye run around the room and convince people it's the biggest record and it becomes the biggest record. I've seen people like, you know, me and Drummer just be like, we know this is it, but we just a little bit more calm with it. You know what I'm saying? And you might see somebody like Polo the Don gonna be like, this is one! You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so speak on, you know, moving out of that aspect of the artist. The next step is, say you don't have an artist and y'all just made this beat. You have this, it's simplistic, it's easy for a rapper to get on. When you're ready to send beats, do you put a bunch of master stuff on it? Do you compress it? Do you limit it? Or do you just say, hey man, it's raw, out the door? I know sometimes as a producer, when I make beats, I ride around the car, listen to them and critique the shit out of them. For no reason, I'll be like, man, the bass came out too low, I'm gonna go back and reprint it. Like, is that something you guys do, or y'all just be like, man, that's raw, it's out the door?
Man, it's crazy, man. Artists be picking the beats that we think that we wouldn't expect them to pick, like the most simplest beats.
Yeah.
The rawest beats is the ones that they pick. And the ones we care about, they don't pick those beats.
Right. That's how I feel. I mean, I try not to send beats I think that person's gonna like. I send all the beats that is different, because I'm like, damn, I didn't even know you made these type of beats. Well, shit, you got them today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But my process is simple. Like, I don't really do nothing on my master anymore. You know what I mean? I don't look for the SSL a lot. I don't look for the limiter. Is that something you guys lean towards at the end, or y'all just let it be what it's gonna be?
Yeah, we let it rock. I don't think we really, outside of the effects that we put on the music, we don't really do nothing to the beat, like master-wise. I think remember we was talking about the sounds? I think we just try to pick good sounds.
Yeah, sound selection.
Yes, I think sound selection will help your mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you pick the right sounds that blend, you don't really have to super mix it. I think when you start super mixing,
The sounds is better.
you start like over tampering with the music on how it's like when you give the engineer your files, you like, this ain't how I made it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Versus, so.
That's important, sound selection. How long does it take you to sound source or sound select when you come to drums and stuff? Is it something that you find right away impacts, or is it something like you do on a daily basis where you just fine tune and then come back the next day? Like, is there something, there's a preference of, with me, I'll stack drums, I'll do stuff. I have days where I do drum days, sample days, chop days, and then I'll make beats for 5 or 6 straight days. And like, how you do 30 beats in a day? Well, I did all the preparation work.
And he has a good ear when it comes to like sound selection.
Okay.
Because usually when I'm making a beat, I'll have like a snare or whatever, and it's not the right one. And then he'll be like, yeah, put this snare in there, and it totally changed the whole energy of the track. So Mike has a good ear when it comes to like sound selection and kits and drums and all that.
I'll rather sit there and go through all the right sounds and make sure Keys has them.
Yep.
Versus him searching for. I feel like when he searches for sounds,
that messes up the
throws
flow.
off his vibe.
Yeah.
So if he already got everything he needs, it's easier. Oh, cool, this is exactly what I need. The right kick, snare, hi-hats. Is just easier to make the beat.
Dope. I love that. So we're at the process, we're at the end. Any last things you want to tell people about this beat that you haven't, any history? I had some times where I was like, man, listen, I had these chocolate chip cookies right here. This made me pick that sample because I was about to grab some lemonade and I spilled over the joint. Is there any secrets that you have about this beat that's like, man, this wasn't supposed to happen because this was that? But obviously it was T-Fly first, but then
T-Fly was pressing. He was like, that's my beat. That's really what happened, man.
Andy, that's my beat.
We had a studio together. I remember he used to be like, y'all giving this beat to Nipsey. He used to be like, what do you mean? Like, y'all know me. So it was like, that we used to hear him say that every day, but then when the song came out, he like, I get it, my bad. At the time when we did this was a crazy time in our music career because I think this was the transition of us figuring out our sound as producers.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So this was like a critical time in us, trying to showcase like us as producers, like letting people know we wasn't in there just making beats. We in there really with the artists, like trying to craft the sound, not just here's a beat and go sing or rap on it. You know what I'm saying? So this is like a pivotal time in our career.
This is the last question. Did this beat change any of your rings on your phone? Did people start ringing the phone like, hey, I heard that joint. I need some joints from y'all?
Yeah, because at this time I felt like outside of DJ Dahi, we were the guys using trap sounds with the West Coast sounds.
Got you.
And I felt like this was our if we was in Atlanta trying to make a record for a West Coast artist, this is what it would sound like.
Dope.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was like the drums we had to use those drums to make it feel like that, but we also had to use the vintage West Coast sounds, the bass, the leady sounds.
Dope. And that's why we created BackTrak.